针对哈佛女孩蒋雨融这段时间的负面评论呢，其实在我看来啊，是因为她在演讲的时候没有说真话。比方她说中国制造的洗衣机卖到非洲的时候只有中文，请问中国制造的东西会犯这种低级错误吗？你要卖到非洲，你竟然只标中文，可能吗？一方面没有说真话，第二方面呢还没有生活啊，这很像从哪个小说情节里面抄到的段子。并且呢，他说，如果女孩子买不到卫生棉，她感觉到她也不会快乐，对吧？如果一些女孩子受到霸凌的时候，她也觉得自己是不完整的了。然后当遇到战争的时候，加沙的战争，那些小孩子遇难的时候，她能感同身受。她真的能够感同身受吗？她的这些话很像是为了堆积意识形态的框架所用 AI 给她标出来的那些话。一点都不像感同身受，真正感同身受是什么样的？我们听听加沙的医生以及傅聪的表达，你就知道了加沙的儿童正在经历着什么。
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Council. My name is Dr. Feroz Sidwa. I am an American trauma and critical care surgeon based in Stockton, California. I come before you today to speak about the Gaza Strip, where I have volunteered twice since October 7th. First at European Hospital from March 25th to April 8th of last year, and most recently at Nasser Medical Complex from March 6th to April 1st of 2025. Both are in the city of Khan Yunis. I'm not here as a policymaker or a politician. I am a physician bearing witness to the deliberate destruction of a healthcare system, the targeting of my own colleagues, and the erasure of a people. The Constitution of the World Health Organization states that the health of all peoples is fundamental to the attainment of peace and security and is dependent on the fullest cooperation of individuals and states. I've taken this to heart, and it is the reason I volunteer in conflict zones from Haiti to Ukraine to Gaza. In Gaza, I operated in hospitals without sterility, electricity, or anesthetics. Surgeries took place on crowded and filthy floors. Children died not because their injuries were unsurvivable, but because we lacked blood, antibiotics, and the most basic supplies that are readily available in any large hospital anywhere else in the world. I did not see or treat a single combatant during my 5 weeks in Gaza. My patients were 6-year-olds with shrapnels in their heart and bullets in their brains, and pregnant women whose pelvises had been obliterated and their fetuses cut in two while still in the womb. Mothers sheltering in the hospital cooked bread on hot plates in the emergency department during mass casualty events, as we dealt with the rain of fire and death falling around us everywhere. Mr. President, the foundations of life in Gaza, family, health, and community, have been shattered. The medical system has not failed. It has been systematically dismantled through a sustained military campaign that has willfully violated international humanitarian law. Civilians are now dying not just from the constant airstrikes, but from acute malnutrition, sepsis, exposure, and despair. Between my 2 visits to Gaza, I witnessed a sharp decline in patients' health, driven not just by injury, but by worsening hunger and malnutrition that left their bodies weaker, their wounds slower to heal, and their survival far less certain. And let's not forget, this is a man-made catastrophe. It is entirely preventable. Participating in it or not, allowing it to happen is a choice. This is a deliberate denial of conditions necessary for life: food, shelter, water, and medicine. Preventing genocide means refusing to normalize these atrocities. It means refusing to dehumanize the Palestinians, to refuse to see them as calories counted or numbers of trucks moved. We see now that this way of thinking has brought about a human dignity crisis, with an entire people on the edge of survival. On March 18th, the ceasefire was violated by Israel. That day, I witnessed the most extreme mass casualty event of my career at Nasser Medical Complex. 221 trauma patients arrived in one morning. 90 were dead on arrival. Nearly half were severely injured children. No health system on earth could cope with this, least of all one that is besieged and starved of supplies. Hospitals are meant to be sanctuaries. Healthcare workers and first responders are supposed to be protected. Children are supposed to be protected. In Gaza, these protections are simply gone. Every day, the distinction between combatant and civilian is erased. Most of my patients were preteen children, their bodies shattered by explosives and torn by flying metal. Many died. Those who lived often awoke to find their entire families gone. Last year, I published in the New York Times a survey of 65 American healthcare workers who had served in Gaza. 83% of them reported seeing children shot in the head or the chest. I personally treated 13 such cases in my 2 weeks at European Hospital. According to the War Child Alliance, nearly half of Gaza's children are suicidal. They ask, why didn't I die with my sister, my mother, my father? Not out of extremism, but out of unbearable grief. I wonder if any member of this council has ever met a 5-year-old child who no longer wants to live, let alone imagined a society in which so many young children feel this way. And what astonishes me is not that some children in Gaza have lost the will to live, but that any still cling to hope. My Palestinian friends, mostly healthcare workers, no longer speak of resilience or even survival. Parents memorize their children's clothing in case they must identify their remains later. They pray for one piece of bread to give them before they sleep so that their children might die less hungry if they are killed at night. And meanwhile, my Israeli and American friends express horror at what is being done in their names. Many of us cannot understand how our governments continue to arm this senseless destruction, but you in this chamber have the power to stop it. Mr. President, I am here because I have witnessed what is happening in Gaza with my own eyes, especially to children, and I cannot pretend not to have seen it. You too cannot claim ignorance. I urge the Council, and especially my own government, to act with urgency on these enforceable measures. 1, demand an immediate and permanent ceasefire, including a halt to all arms transfers to all parties to the conflict, alongside targeted and lawful sanctions on Israel. 2, demand the reopening of all of Gaza's crossings and guarantee unrestricted medical evacuations, including to hospitals in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, where Palestinian patients can be treated by Palestinian doctors, with safe return to Gaza assured. 3, guarantee sustained humanitarian access throughout Gaza, allowing all essential supplies, shelter, food, water, fuel, and medical supplies to reach all people in need. 4, strongly and explicitly reject the weaponization and politicization of aid embodied by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, whose executive director, a veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps, publicly resigned on Sunday, citing the foundation's lack of adherence to humanitarian principles. We must affirm support for existing UN mechanisms, back UNRWA, and ensure NGOs with expertise in reaching and providing specialized care to those in need have unimpeded full access. 5, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. 6, the immediate and unconditional release of all healthcare workers, including Dr. Hussam Abu Sufia, now held in Israeli detention for more than 150 days. And 7, without delay, uphold the UN Charter and act now to prevent genocide. One day, Gaza's survivors may have a record of the empty promises made by the members of this council as their wounds deepened and their lives were lost. If this council remains silent and fails to act now, that record will stand as a testament to a global failure to provide urgent care and to the collapse of our collective conscience. I'm pleading with you to do what you were entrusted to do, to protect international peace and security, and to prevent irreversible harm. The steps I mentioned are the very least that is needed. I'm asking my own government's representative to hear the voices of the majority of Americans who are calling for the same. If this continues, there will be no Palestinian doctors left, no one to care for the sick and wounded. There will be no Palestinians left to rebuild the healthcare system. We are losing a generation before our eyes, condemning people to die of hunger, disease, and despair, deaths that could be easily prevented. Thank you.
中方对今天的表决结果非常失望。安理会10个非常任理事国推动的加沙问题 加沙人道问题决议草案，明确要求立即实现加沙持久停火，解除人道物资封锁。这是在死亡和绝望中挣扎的加沙民众最迫切的要求，也是国际社会压倒性的呼声。美国再次滥用否决权，扼杀了加沙民众的一丝希望，继续无情地把200多万加沙民众置于黑暗之中，必须面对国际社会的拷问。人们不禁要问：公道正义何在？过去600多天，加沙5.4万多民众被夺去生命，以色列仍在持续升级对加沙的进攻和封锁，把加沙变成了人间炼狱，每天都有新的无辜平民死于战火，大量民众处于饥荒边缘。联合国已经明确指出，美国、以色列推动的人道物资分配机制违反公正、独立和中立原则。近日，在物资分发点附近不断发生平民伤亡事件，有关机制甚至成为了死亡陷阱。残酷事实已经说明，军事手段不是出路。这场冲突早已超出了解救人质的限度。以色列必须立即停止军事行动，全面恢复物资准入。人们不禁要问：国际法治何在？冲突爆发以来，我们目睹了人道救援被武器化，学校、医院等民用设施成为袭击目标，记者和人道工作者遭到无情杀害。以色列的行为突破了国际人道法的每一道红线，严重违反安理会和联大决议以及国际法院临时措施命令。但因为一个国家的袒护，违反国际法的行为至今无法得到制止和追责。遵守国际人道法是各方必须履行的义务，不是可有可无的选择。任何的双重标准和选择性适用只会侵蚀国际法治基础，必须得到坚决的抵制。人们不禁要问：安理会权威何在？安理会作为维护国际和平与安全的首要机构，一直致力于实现加沙停火，早已就停火和人道等问题达成了压倒性共识。今天的表决结果再次表明，安理会迟迟无法平息加沙战火，根本原因是美国一再执意阻挠。美国已多次否决安理会的停火要求，也正是由于美国对以色列的袒护，安理会通过的数份决议均没有得到有效落实。所谓安理会行动将干扰外交努力的说法完全站不住脚。只要是真正致力于和平的外交努力，安理会的行动只会提供强大助力。主席，国际社会追求公道正义，维护国际法治，捍卫安理会权威的努力不会停止。一个常任理事国的否决不能阻止实现和平的脚步。我们敦促美国正视作为安理会常任理事国的责任，放下政治算计，拿出公正负责任的态度，支持安理会采取一切必要行动。中方愿同国际社会一道，为平息加沙战火、缓解人道灾难、落实两国方案，最终实现巴勒斯坦问题全面、公正、持久解决，做出不懈努力。谢谢主席。